KTM is revamping the 890 Duke series and replacing the standard model with the sporty Duke GP. Is everything new now? Here's the answer. KTM likes to advertise with the MotoGP program. In addition to successful teams in the Moto3 and Moto2 subclasses, 2 teams will also be competing in the Premier class, MotoGP in 2023. In addition to the factory team, we will see the Gas team on the grid for the first time this season, replacing the former Tech 3 team. It is therefore all the more fitting that a GP version of the popular mid-range Duke is now also available. Grand Prix, or GP for short. A powerful name that promises racing and pure performance. So it is perhaps not surprising that we were expecting a further development of the 890 Duke R at the first presentation of the 890 GP in early 2022. However, the racing livery of the 890 Duke GP actually conceals a standard Duke, which has been removed from the range for the 2023 model year. In the Duke mid-range, you now have the choice between the A2 compatible 790 Duke, the 890 Duke GP that we tested, and the Uber Sporty 890 Duke R. To the delight of many KTM fans, the manufacturer has not only taken a former 890 Duke and renamed it, it has also made a few changes to emphasize the sporty note. For example, it was given MotoGP-inspired paintwork and delivered from the factory as a single-seater. There is now a cool cover where the pillion used to sit, and the footrest for the passenger are not even fitted. Weight can be saved everywhere. If you want even sportier look, you can of course help yourself to the power parts range. But before you go for design, it's better to opt for other extras that benefit the performance and are available at extra cost. The LC8C has been with us for the first time since 2018 in the 790 Duke and is likely to be available in various sizes in the future, if we are to believe the prototype photos. But now, in the present, the 2-cylinder engine with a displacement of 889cc and an output of 115 horsepower at 9,000 RPM and 92 Newton meter at 8,000 RPM stands there proudly. Like fine wine, it has matured over the years and left its teething troubles behind so that it is now nothing less than a pure joy to drive. Even at low revs, it offers plenty of pressure, which ends in emotional acceleration firework. It is only completed by the optional quick shifter, which comes with an absolute recommendation to buy. On our test bike, the gear changes were precise and crisp, making the 6-speed gearbox truly addictive. It turns out that even only 115 horsepower can be enough if you don't have too much on your ribs. However, this clearly refers to the bike because compared to me, the 890 GP doesn't need to go on a diet. It only weighs 169 kilograms dry, which is undoubtedly impressive in this class. This not only benefits the riding dynamics, it also makes maneuvering much easier. Despite my height of just 175 centimeter, the 820 millimeter high seat is no challenge, allowing both feet to reach the ground without any problems. When in motion with both feet on the footrest, you will quickly enjoy the comfortable ergonomics thanks to the knee angle. This also exudes sportiness without becoming uncomfortable in the long term. There is also the option of adjusting both the clutch and brake levers on the 890 Duke GP. Only the tightly padded saddle could push some riders to their limits after a while. Since its launch, KTM has marketed the mid-range Duke as a scalpel, an epithet also applies to the 2023 890 Duke GP. Even if the only adjustment option of the WP Apex suspension is the spring preload of the shock absorber, the components offer the ideal compromise for everyday riding and country roads. Sporty and firm, they master pour asphalt in everyday use while providing sufficient reserves for sporty riding on country roads. At very high road speeds, or on the racetrack. The suspension will certainly reach its limits, but KTM has the 890 Duke R in its range for this purpose. The same applies to the braking system. The 4-piston system allows fine modulation on the 300mm double disc at the front, but does not have the same pressure point that we are familiar with from more expensive models. However, it also brings a compromise to the ring that is suitable for everyday use, works in all situations, and will not overtax anyone. The package is rounded off by the Conda Road, which scores points with its fast warm-up time and transparent feel on the road. KTM has been a pioneer in electronics for years, as the Compacta 1 models already featured TFT displays and various riding aids well ahead of the competition. The 890 Duke GP is no exception. 6-axis IMU, ride-by-wire, lean angle-dependent riding aids, Supermoto ABS, and the Sport Street and Rain riding modes are all on board. The various modes and riding aids are controlled via the familiar TFT display, which still looks fresh in 2023. Our test bike was a fully equipped model, which is why the optional track mode and engine drag control were also included. As is typical for KTM, the little helpers work flawlessly, and the setup of the riding modes deserves great praise. Between Sport, Street, and Rain, you can feel clear differences in the throttle response and interventions of the riding aids. Before we get to the prices, I would like to point out that the figures should not be adopted one-on-one because the quick shifter must be ordered as well. That's why it pays off financially best to take the so-called tech pack for just under 800 euros, which includes all extras that are subject to a surcharge. Without extras, prices for the KTM 890 Duke GP start at 13,299 euros in Austria, 11,999 euros in Germany, and 12,290 Swiss francs in Switzerland. Conclusion on the KTM 890 Duke GP23. You might expect a lot behind the GP abbreviation. Does that make the 890 Duke GPA deceptive package? Not necessarily, because with the incredibly fun 890 Duke as the basis, which has been further refined, this naked bike is a real joy to ride and will sweeten your everyday life and weekend rides. If only the quick shifter was fitted as standard. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment below. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, stay connected, and subscribe to our channel.